What does a monster look like? We tell our children they are ugly, scary, things that hide in the dark. We never tell them that a monster might wear a kind smile, that it might hand out gold stars, that it might be the person the community trusts to shape its most precious minds. In the quiet town of Oak Creek, the monster wasn't under the bed. She was standing in front of the whiteboard. Her name was Sarah Evans, and for one entire school year, parents delivered their children right into her classroom, never suspecting the horrifying secret hiding behind the bulletin boards and spelling tests. Oak Creek was the kind of place where doors were left unlocked and neighbors knew each other by name. At the heart of it all was Oak Creek Elementary, and at the heart of the third grade was Miss Evans. She was voted Teacher of the Year 3 times. Her classroom was a wonderland of beanbag chairs, colorful posters, and a class hamster named Sparky. Parents fought to get their kids into a class. She was patient, she was creative, she was beloved. But halfway through the school year, a shift began, a subtle one. 7-year-old Liam Cooper stopped talking about Miss Evans's fun science experiments. Instead, he started having nightmares. He'd wake up screaming about the quiet game. His father, Mark, initially dismissed it as an overactive imagination. Kids have phases, right? But then, at a parent-teacher conference, Mark mentioned Liam's trouble sleeping.
Miss Evans just nodded, her face a mask of concern. "It's a common age for anxiety, Mark," she said, her voice soft as velvet. "They become more aware of the world. The pressure of multiplication, social dynamics. I'll keep a special eye on him." She was so convincing, so reassuring. Mark left feeling guilty for ever worrying. He trusted her. Everyone did. But the trust was a fortress built on lies. Because in that vibrant, colorful classroom, Miss Evans had her own curriculum, a curriculum of control, of psychological torment. The quiet game wasn't a game. It was solitary confinement in a closet for children who spoke out of turn. The thinking chair was a desk facing a blank wall for hours on end. The special rewards were often given to the children who told her secrets about their classmates and even their parents. She wasn't just teaching them, she was breaking them. The dam broke, not with a shout, but with a whisper. During an art therapy session, arranged for an entirely different reason, a little girl drew a picture. When the therapist gently asked about it, the girl said, "That's Miss Evans' timeout box. It's dark, and it smells like old books. She says if we're bad, we have to go in until we stop crying."
That one drawing was a key that unlocked a nightmare. Child Protective Services and the police were called. And as they began to interview the children, the story that emerged was so methodical, so chilling, it defied belief. This wasn't a single moment of rage. It was a sustained, calculated campaign of emotional and psychological abuse, hidden in plain sight. Why is she smiling when her eyes are so cold? The investigation revealed her system. She maintained control by pitting children against each other, creating an atmosphere of constant surveillance and paranoia. She would publicly reward a child for tattling, then take the offending child aside for a chat. These chats were where the real damage was done. She would tell them they were stupid, that their parents were disappointed in them, that no one else would want to be their friend.
When the arrest warrant was issued, the town shattered. Sarah Evans was charged with multiple counts of child cruelty. The community was divided. Some parents refused to believe it, defending her to the bitter end. How could this pillar of the community be a monster? But for the parents of the victims, the evidence was undeniable. Their children's trauma was the proof. At the trial, the prosecution laid out a case that was more horrifying than any fiction. They presented dozens of drawings, hours of taped interviews with soft-spoken, traumatized children. They revealed that Ms. Evans kept a private, coded journal.
In it, she didn't write about lesson plans. She wrote about power. She described her methods of behavioral shaping with the cold, detached language of a scientist experimenting on lab rats. Asset deprivation meant taking away a child's favorite book or toy. Social isolation was the closet. The final, crushing blow came when a former student, now a teenager, came forward. He testified that he had been in Ms. Evans' class a decade prior. He described the same patterns, the same fear. He had just been too scared, too confused, to ever tell anyone. The monster had been hunting for a very, very long time.
Sarah Evans was found guilty on all counts. She was sentenced to 15 years in prison, her teaching license permanently revoked. The town of Oak Creek tried to heal, but the trust was broken. The school repainted her old classroom. They got a new hamster. But the parents were left with a chilling, unanswerable question. How do you ever really know who is caring for your child? The most terrifying crimes aren't always the ones of passion. Sometimes they are crimes of cold, calculated cruelty, committed by the person you'd least suspect. The facade of the perfect teacher hid a deeply disturbed individual, proving that evil doesn't always snarl. Sometimes it offers you a helping hand. If you were shocked by this story of betrayal in the classroom, imagine what other secrets are waiting to be uncovered. If you love real stories like this, make sure to subscribe to Criminal Codex, where every crime hides a deeper truth. Let us know in the comments what you think. Were the parents wrong to trust so easily? What signs, if any, do you think were missed? And if this story gripped you, please share it with someone who appreciates the dark, complex puzzles of true crime. Until next time.